Okay, so today we're going to do a deep dive into something that I think a lot of our listeners are really interested in.
Yeah.
It's protein powder.
Yeah, protein powder is huge.
It's huge. It's everywhere you see it.
Especially if you are at all interested in like fitness.
Yes.
Or, even just like general health and wellness.
Yeah.
You're going to see protein powder everywhere you go.
Right. And we've heard from a lot of our listeners that you want to know more about protein powder and specifically like how to make sure that what you're using is safe.
Yeah.
And also, what kind of regulations are out there
Right.
to like govern this whole massive industry.
Right.
So we're going to unpack all of that today.
Well, you are.
Without getting too bogged down in the super complicated science.
Yeah, I think one thing that's interesting about protein powder is that the basic, the basic science behind it is actually pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Like we know that when you consume protein, it leads to something called hyperaminoacidemia.
Say that 5 times fast.
Hyperaminoacidemia,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And that basically means you have a lot of amino acids in your blood, which are the building blocks of protein.
Right.
And that then signals your body to increase muscle protein synthesis, which is how your body builds muscle. And it also decreases muscle protein breakdown, so you're not losing muscle as quickly.
Right, so you have more coming in and less going out.
Exactly. And over time, that's how you get, a net gain in muscle mass.
Okay, so that's how it works in theory, like scientifically.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we found really interesting as we were looking into this is that protein powder is regulated very differently than like a drug that you would get from your doctor.
Absolutely.
So it seems like the process for getting these powders onto the shelves is much less complicated.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting.
It's a really, really good point. And in the U.S., protein powders are classified as special foods.
Okay.
So they're not pharmaceuticals. And what that means is that they don't go through the same rigorous pre-market testing that drugs do with the FDA.
Okay.
They're more or less considered safe until proven otherwise.
So it's kind of like innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big difference. And it does raise some questions about safety and quality.
Right. Like, are we sure that all these protein powders out there are actually safe?
Yeah.
And, high quality?
Exactly. And that's what we want to kind of explore in this deep dive.
Yeah, so our goal today is to look at the regulations, look at the safety, try to pull out the most important things from the research that we've done, and hopefully just bring some clarity to this world because it can feel very overwhelming.
It is a lot.
Yeah, there's so many different brands, so many different types of protein.
Right, and where do you even begin?
Yeah, so let's start with the basics, like what kinds of protein powder are out there?
Okay, so there are a lot of different kinds of protein powder, but our sources highlighted 2 main categories, which are protein concentrates and protein isolates.
Okay, so concentrates versus isolate.
Right, so concentrates have a decent amount of protein, but they also have some fat and carbs that occur naturally.
Okay, so it's kind of like the whole food version almost.
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
Yeah.
And then isolates are more processed.
Okay.
They strip away most of the non-protein stuff.
Okay.
So you end up with a powder that's almost pure protein.
Got it. So concentrates are a little bit more whole foody and isolates are super refined.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, and then we also came across this idea of complete versus incomplete protein.
Yeah, that's an important distinction.
So what does that mean, like, for someone who's actually using these powders?
So complete proteins contain all 9 of the essential amino acids.
Okay.
Which are the ones that your body can't make on its own, so you have to get them from your diet.
Right.
Histidine, isoleucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, and valine.
Yeah, that's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
You know what's interesting, though? A
Yeah.
lot of those I feel like I've heard of, like tryptophan, I know, is in turkey.
Yeah. Exactly. You hear about tryptophan around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right.
Makes you sleepy.
Right, exactly. So those are all essential amino acids. And then the incomplete proteins are missing one or more.
Right. And now, if we look at what's popular, whey and casein proteins are kind of the kings of the market.
Yeah, those are like the big names that you always hear about.
Right.
Whey and casein. So what makes them so popular?
So whey protein is popular because it's relatively inexpensive.
Okay, affordability, that's always good.
Right. And it's absorbed by your body really quickly.
So it's like a fast-acting protein?
Yeah, like a quick delivery system for those amino acids.
Okay.
So it's often used after workouts.
Like to refuel your muscles?
Yeah, when your muscles are thought to be primed for that protein.
Okay, so whey is like the post-workout protein?
Yeah, pretty much.
What about casein?
So casein digests a lot more slowly.
Okay.
So it provides a more sustained release of amino acids over time.
So it's kind of like the slow and steady
Yeah, exactly.
wins the race protein.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. So whey for a quick hit, casein for the long game.
Right.
What about people who like are vegetarian or who have problems with dairy?
Yeah, so there are a lot of plant-based alternatives for those who don't do dairy.
Okay.
So you've got pea protein, soy protein, hemp protein, rice protein.
So there are a lot of options out there.
Yeah, there are.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, our sources focus mostly on whey and casein
Okay.
because those are the most prevalent in the market.
Yeah.
But it is important to know
Sure.
that there are choices if those aren't right for you.
Right. And you know what we always say is do your research.
Yes, all we think.
Figure out what works best for your body.
Exactly.
Okay, so we talked about the different types of protein powder. Now let's go back to the regulations.
Okay, yeah.
You mentioned the FDA and the FTC.
Yes, so the FDA and the Federal Trade Commission.
What are they actually in charge of when it comes to this stuff?
So their main role is in overseeing how these products are marketed.
Okay.
So the FDA wants to make sure that the labels are accurate.
So they actually match what's in the container.
Right, and that companies aren't making like unsupported health claims.
Okay, so they can't just say this protein powder will cure cancer.
Right, they can't say it's going to diagnose, cure, prevent, or treat any disease
Okay.
without really solid scientific evidence.
So they can't make those big claims.
Right, they can't.
But it sounds like there's some gray area there.
Yeah.
They can make some health claims without needing the FDA's approval.
Right, so they can say things like healthy
Right.
or rich in protein
Okay.
or, has vitamins and minerals
Right.
without having to go through the FDA.
Okay.
The FDA usually only steps in if a product is later found to be misleading or deceptive.
Got it. So they kind of wait for problems to arise.
Yeah, and then they can issue warning letters or even try to remove the product from the market.
Okay, so it's kind of a reactive approach.
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay. But like we were talking about earlier, this whole level of oversight is way less strict
Right.
than it is for like prescription drugs or even over-the-counter medication.
Way less.
Yeah. So what does that mean for consumers?
It means you have to do your homework.
Yeah, like we were saying.
You are basically the last line of defense
Okay.
because with medications, the FDA is like a gatekeeper.
Right. They're making sure everything's safe before it even gets to you.
Exactly. But with supplements, it's more like buyer beware.
Okay, so you've really got to be informed.
Yeah, you got to do your research.
Yeah, and as our sources point out, that does lead to some potential concerns.
Right, because if it's not as regulated,
Right.
there's a chance that some of these powders could have things in them that we don't want.
Right, like heavy metals or artificial sweeteners or who knows what else.
Exactly, and that's a legitimate concern because those things can have both short-term and long-term health consequences.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the regulation side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about maybe the biggest safety concern that people have, which is what does protein powder do to your kidneys?
Yeah, that's a big one.
This is something I've heard about for years.
Everyone's worried about their kidneys.
Right, so what's the science say?
So the concern is that if you eat a ton of protein, it might put too much stress on your kidneys
So,
because your kidneys are filtering your blood all the time.
right.
And they have these little units called glomeruli,
Glomeruli.
that do the filtering.
Okay.
And the theory is that too much protein might cause these glomeruli to work overtime,
Okay.
which could lead to something called hyperfiltration.
Okay.
And that sounds bad.
It does sound bad.
And the worry is that over time, that hyperfiltration could damage your kidneys.
Okay, so that's the theory.
Right.
But what does the research actually show?
So the current research actually doesn't show a strong link
Okay.
between protein powder and kidney problems
Okay.
in healthy individuals.
Okay, that's an important caveat.
Yeah, big caveat.
Right, so if you're generally healthy and you're consuming protein powder within like the recommended guidelines,
Yeah.
you're probably fine.
Yeah, the science seems to suggest that you're okay.
Okay, good to know. But our sources did point out that there are some people who should be a little bit more careful.
Right, because not everyone is a healthy individual.
Right.
So there are some risk factors that might make you more likely to have problems.
Like what?
So if you're older,
Okay.
if you have high blood pressure, also known as hypertension,
Okay.
heart failure,
Yeah.
peripheral artery disease,
Okay.
and most importantly, if you already have any kidney problems.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Those are all red flags.
Right.
You want to be extra cautious with protein powder if any of those apply to you.
Got it. And it's not just older adults, right?
Right. It's not just older folks.
Our sources mention that there are some things to think about for kids and teenagers, too.
Yeah, young people can be more sensitive.
Okay.
So things like having a low glomerular filtration rate.
Glomerular filtration rate, that's like how efficiently your kidneys are filtered.
Right, it's how fast they're cleaning your blood.
That.
So if you have a low GFR, that's a risk factor.
Okay.
Protein in your urine.
That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, it's not a good sign.
Okay.
Hypertension.
Okay.
Anemia, low birth weight exposure to heavy metals,
Okay.
and certain metabolic disorders.
So these are all things that can make kids and teenagers more vulnerable.
Yeah, their kidneys are still developing.
Right, so they're more sensitive to like the stress of a high protein intake.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what about some of the other concerns that we hear about sometimes, like heavy metal contamination?
That's a good question.
Is that a big risk with protein powders?
So the sources say that there's not a lot of evidence right now to link protein powder use to heavy metal toxicity
Okay.
or other like really serious health problems.
Okay, so that's good news.
It is good news, but it's important to remember that doesn't mean it's impossible.
Right, we don't know for sure.
Right, we need more research.
Right, we need more data.
Yeah, we need more long-term studies
Exactly.
to see what happens when people use protein powder for years and years.
Right, and also like what are the right doses for different people?
Yeah, exactly.
Like maybe what's safe for a healthy adult is not safe for a kid.
Right, or someone with a kidney problem.
Exactly, so more research is needed.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we know a little bit, but we need to know more.
Pretty much.
Okay, so given all of that, what do the experts recommend?
So they have two main pieces of advice.
Okay.
The first is choose protein powders wisely.
Okay, so not just grabbing the first one you see.
Right, you want to do your research.
Okay.
Look for products that have been certified by reputable third-party organizations.
Okay, so like some kind of seal of approval.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Something that tells you this has been tested
Got it.
for contaminants.
Yeah.
And that the label is accurate.
Okay, and also I guess, choose the type of protein that's best for you.
Yeah, whether that's whey casein or a plant-based option.
Right, so think about your needs.
Yeah, what works for your body and your lifestyle.
Got it. So that's step one, choose wisely.
Right. Step two is monitor your intake.
Okay, so don't just chug protein shakes all day long.
No, be mindful of how much protein you're getting from all sources.
Okay, so food too, not just the powder.
Exactly. You want to make sure you're not overdoing it.
Right, because even if it doesn't hurt your kidneys, too much protein can still put a strain on your body.
Yeah, your kidneys have to work harder.
Right, and other organs too.
It's not just the kidneys. It can affect your whole system.
So it's all about balance.
Exactly.
Okay, so the general advice is to stick to the recommended daily allowance for protein.
Yeah, unless your doctor tells you otherwise.
Right, if you have specific needs.
Exactly.
Okay, so big picture, it sounds like protein powders can be a good thing.
Yeah, they can be a convenient way to supplement your diet.
Right. But it's important to remember that they're not regulated the same way as medication.
Right, they're not.
So you have to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, you have to be an informed consumer.
Right. And, as we always say, do your research.
Always.
Figure out what works for you. And, listen to your body.
If something feels off, talk to your doctor.
Absolutely. So I think that's a good place to wrap up our deep dive on protein powder.
Yeah, I think so.
Hopefully we answered some of your questions.
Okay.
Gave you some things to think about.
Always good to think critically about what you're putting in your body.
Right. And, speaking of thinking critically, here's a final thought for all of you to ponder.
I like it.
Given that these supplements are so easy to buy and they're not as strictly regulated as drugs,
Right.
what responsibility do you as a consumer have to stay informed and really evaluate the choices that you're making?
That's a big question.
It is a big question.
And there's no easy answer.
Right, but it's definitely worth thinking about.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, your health is in your hands.
Right. So be informed, be empowered, and make the best choices for you.
I love it.
All right, thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll see you next time.
See you later.